Hey everyone, it's Lindsay. Welcome back to my channel. We have a little bit of a tutorial today. I hope that this will be helpful for those of you who create journals and want them sturdy and struggle with a cover that is durable and that lays the way you want it to. I've done similar tutorials, but I think repetition is the key to learning. That's what I learned in college and education classes. And sometimes just doing it multiple times, we learn a lot, and there's different tips and tricks, and we kind of develop our style. And so this is specifically for a 2 signature journal. I actually see a lot of journals with 2 signatures, 2 and 3, but a lot with 2. But there's some things about creating a cover for a 2 signature. These are their signatures, the little booklets of papers that make up the journal. That is different from, say, a 3 or a 1 or a 5. There's some things that are very particular to a 2 signature journal. And so I thought I would go over that. And I specifically had in mind my marketplace artists. If you're new and you don't know, I have a marketplace, which is an online consignment shop where I sell other people's journals. And I have standards for those journals. I try to keep them simple, but they are pretty rigid, and one of that is well-made covers, well-made durable covers. And so I thought that this might help some of you. If you're new and you would maybe like to make journals for me to sell, and you'd like a commission off of that, then you can contact me below. I would love to talk to you. Send me an email or go on Facebook, send me a message. So today we are showing off a digital printable journal kit, and this is Rose Garden. I think that's what it's called, the Rose Garden, by Vectoria Designs. I love their digitals, one of my favorite of all time. And so I've already put together the signatures to save us a little bit of time, but this is a beautiful kit that is brand new, and you can find the link to it below. And I hope that you will add that to your wish list or purchase it. I know you will not be disappointed with this kit. So we have our signatures, and we're going to go through that in a minute. I want to show you the ephemera that comes with the kit. We're not doing anything with this ephemera in this kit, but just so you can see how beautiful it is. I printed this on a semi-gloss paper. I am creating this botanical journal for a sweet lady who ordered a custom botanical journal from me. Occasionally I do custom journals, so you can always ask, and I will let you know whether I can do what you have in mind or not. So this is for Louise, and I'm excited to be able to make this for her. Here are our signatures of the beautiful papers from the kit, and I tried to use a lot of papers from the kit. I did print a few things on the back, like some lined paper. I have book pages, some tan paper. This is from the kit. Double-sided, some of the neutrals from the kit, some hand-dyed paper. But look at these beautiful pages. Oh, so you really want to pay attention to the pages you're using in the journal when you create the cover. There's 2 ways to create the cover. You can either create the cover first and choose your pages later to go with the cover, or you can do what I'm doing, and that is I have put together my signatures because I know what I want the inside of my journal to look like, and then I am finding the right materials to coordinate the cover to the journal. I normally make the cover first and then choose the pages, but I'm doing it the other way today to achieve this aesthetic that I want. This is a very specific aesthetic. Look at how pretty. These would be really pretty. Almost, it made me think of a Jane Austen theme. And because of that, there are some book pages in here from a Pride and Prejudice book. Let me see if I can find that. But look at these. Look at these pages. There's even like a little bunny, almost like a Peter Rabbit. Here's Pride and Prejudice. You could kind of turn this into a really beautiful romantic Peter Rabbit type journal as well, like a Beatrice Potter type journal. This is my light moss hand-dyed paper. There's some of that in my shop linked below as well. that's so pretty. Oh, so we've got those ready to go. Let us work on this cover. My whole focus on this cover is to make it durable, but to keep it simple. If it takes you too long to accomplish something and you're trying to make a profit or sell something, then you're not working efficiently. If you're just taking your time and enjoying it and it doesn't matter to you, then that's fine. But what I'm going to be doing is giving you time-saving tips and durability tips. So what I'm going to use as my base is a cracker box. This is just a cheese cracker box. And you can grab any kind of thick kind of packaging. Cereal boxes, cracker boxes, the backs of your scrapbook paper pads, scrapbook cardstock. And then I'm just going to start this by cutting off the top. Hopefully this paper trimmer works okay. I haven't used it in a while. I keep it here in my back room, and I usually use it as a ruler to measure, and so hopefully I can still get it to cut. So I'm just going to cut off the top, make sure that's even. When you're cutting a cover, you really, really want to use some type of a paper trimmer and not a pair of scissors, because it is so easy when you're cutting something by hand to go off and not have it straight. The only exception would be if you have a cutting line like this and I just need to cut this top part off. This is a thick kind of a chipboard, which is why this paper trimmer is not working for it. Normally I have more of a guillotine paper trimmer. I just don't have it in my back room. So if you have one like this, you can still make it work. So trash, get that out of our way. Now, first tip, when you're creating the size of the cover, you want to go just a little bigger than your signatures. So I know my signatures here are 5.5 by 8.5, because when I printed it, regular printer paper, or I used a 24-pound, a nicer like presentation type paper, they are 8.5 by 11. So when you fold it in half, you still have your 8.5, but you're cutting that 11 in half to 5.5. So 8.5 by 5.5. So a 9 by 6 cover, or just slightly under that, fits it really, really well. And then you don't have to trim all your pages down. So I am going to go just slightly below the 9. Make sure everything is lined up. And this will be the height of my journal cover. And yes, I am having a hard time keeping this line, not keeping it straight, but cutting through all the layers. So since I have my line there, I'm just going to take my scissors to help me go through that second layer. But I have a straight line to cut on. I'm not just winging it with scissors. You could use a ruler, maybe, if you needed to, if you do not have a paper trimmer. Okay, so now we have our height, but it still looks like a box. And because we're only doing 2 signatures, we really cannot keep this part as a spine because it's too big. This is more like 5 or 6 signatures long, because you're going to put them about 1, 2, 3, 4. I would say you could fit 5 to 6 signatures in here. We just want 2 signatures. So what I'm going to do is find, if you have a box like this, there's one side that overlaps, if you can see right there. And you're just going to carefully pull it open like that. Now it is all the way open, and we are going to make 3 parts. The first thing we're going to do is just trim off that ugly edge, so we have a really clean cut edge. Then we're going to slip it in the other way, and we want this to be 6 inches, or just slightly under 6 inches. And this will be the front of the journal, like that. And then we're going to do the same thing to the other side. Cut off the ugly flap that's in our way. and make sure it is the same size, either 6 or just under 6, whatever you did on the first one. Measure exact. This is the back of the journal. And then we're going to take this part here and cut it down. It is already the right length. For a 2 signature journal, you want about an inch spine. About a 1/2 inch per signature, about, give or take. You want to be as straight as you possibly can. Take your time. And that is your spine. So with a 2 signature journal, do about 1 inch, sorry, about 1 inch for your spine. So you have like that. Now we're going to turn it into something beautiful. We're going to get rid of all of our scraps so we're not drowning in trash while we're trying to work. What you can do, if you have a second box, you can cut these pieces exactly the same size and glue them together for even thicker. I'm not going to do that for 2 reasons for this particular journal. One, I'm only doing 2 signatures, so it's not going to have a super wide spine that needs extra support. 2, I'm going to be covering both sides of this. I'm going to be covering it with wallpaper, fabric, cardstock, and that will thicken it up. And 3, I'm cutting out a step, so that saves time. You don't want to cut corners unless you know that it will work out for you. And I've done this before. It will work out. I have a nice wallpaper and some other backings that are going to make sure it is durable enough. Okay. Another thing you have to think about, look at how bright these colors are on this cheese box. See how they're bright reds, bright oranges, bright yellows? If you put, for example, I have a piece of really pretty light pink fabric here. If I try to cover the box with this, what is going to happen? I don't know if you can see that on the video, but I can read baked naturally flavored cheese crackers. You do not want that showing through. And then you're going to see all the glue through it. You're going to be able to read cheese on the front of your journal. And even trying to cover that with an image is going to look hokey. So you have to think about what you are covering it with. Now, if I wanted this to be the cover, which I don't, this is not what that's for. But if I did, I would either want to cover this with a plain piece of cardstock and then cover it with this. I would want to paint over this with gesso, white paint, pink paint, something like that to make it more solid and then cover it. Or I would want to flip it over, have this be the front and cover that like that. So just think about that. Those are all important things. You don't want to see through. But I'm going to be covering the front with this wallpaper. This is not see-through at all. I chose this wallpaper because of how beautiful it is, and look at how it coordinates with the Vectoria Designs kit. Isn't that beautiful? There's even a butterfly there. I think I want to capture that butterfly. I don't know if I can. Oh, maybe I can. If I do that. Okay, so now I'm going to, there's another butterfly there, but I can't get that one. I think we can get it like this. I want to get some glue or tape. I think I have a glue stick here. I forgot to bring one. If I don't have one in here, I'll have to go grab one. Quick check, quick check. Washi tape's not gonna work. All right, I will have to pause it and go grab my glue. I will be right back. All right, I am back, and I'm going to use art glitter glue. This is really my new favorite. I made just a little pin top here for it, and I really don't hardly use anything else anymore. It works for so many things. So yes, it's expensive, but I guess it's worth it as much as I've been grabbing it and using it. All right, so make sure I know where I want to put this. Okay. Since I will be, actually, no, I'm not going to be sewing this. We'll do a no sew. I was going to say I'm sewing it, but no, I want to complete the whole thing here. So I want to make sure that this glue line goes right to the edge because there's not going to be any stitching on this. I already forgot where I'm supposed to put it. Doesn't matter. Just put it down like that. We're going to let that dry. Grab our other one. Make sure I go to the edge with this glue. If I am not stitching, I have to be much more careful. You do not want the paper peeling up. Well, already making a mess. It doesn't really matter where you put it. Just put it down. All right, grab my scissors. There's different, you could cut it right to the edge, or you can give it a little bit of a border, which is what I'm going to do because it looks a little nicer if you're not stitching it. Just give it a border. Does not have to be perfect. Okay. Save your scraps. You can make pockets and other things out of it later. Oh, wow. You can actually see through that. I really didn't think this was see-through at all. Good lesson. You can read it through there. That is not good. What am I going to do? This is a good lesson in fixing things. I do not want to read cheese. Well, we can still pull it off because it hasn't dried all the way yet. Oh, come on. What are we going to do? We are going to layer it just like I was talking about. Let's see. What do I have that I could use? Do I want to layer it with the fabric? Maybe I will do that. That was not the plan, but we shall improvise. Okay. Let's try this again. I like to show my mistakes on film because sometimes it's so easy to be like, oh, how do you do it? You're so fast. You're so amazing. It's like, no, I'm not. I am not. It takes a lot of dedication, and you just never give up. You never give up. If something doesn't work, you try something else. Now, I don't know. Is this going to show through? I don't think it will now. It shows through the fabric, but I don't think that it will show through the wallpaper. And if it does, then we will figure it out. I'm doing a ripped edge for effect. Why not? Like that. Well, that one's a little not working too well. These are not fabric scissors, so they're not working. Okay. Excuse me. Hate to do this, but we're just going to go back over the fabric. I'm going to believe that this is going to come out even better for the mistake. There we go. Now we can't see through it. Perfect. We're going to let that side totally dry. We're going to come over here. But since I'm using my fabric for a cover, I am going to have to come up with something else to reinforce the spine. That's okay. We can do that. And I may end up having to stitch this if the glue doesn't work too good with the fabric. Be flexible. That's one of the best things I can say when you're creating, is to be flexible. If you have only one idea in your mind and it has to be that way or you're not happy, then you will miss out on so much of the joy of crafting and all of the happy little accidents. I bet this is going to come out even neater than what I had imagined in my head because of my mistake. And instead of throwing everything away and refilming the video, we can learn a lesson from this. So that's my goal. That is my goal. Okay, so that did come up too high. That's okay. You guys are going to be like, why do I watch her tutorials? She doesn't know what she's doing. Exactly. I don't know what I'm doing. All right. It's like, good question. Why do you watch my tutorials? Hopefully to learn some real world crafty problem solving skills. I will probably have to stitch this because of the multiple layers. All right. I'm just trimming off the excess. We'll see how it's coming. But now it's going to be even thicker because we have extra layers. So if we had had 2 layers of the cardboard and we had made the same mistake, it might be almost too thick. And the nice thing about this being a cereal box, if I truly do ruin it beyond saving, I can throw it out and grab another cereal box because it's just a cracker box. It's just a cereal box. It's just recycled trash. That's all it is. Having trouble cutting it because of the little fabric pieces, but I kind of want that worn effect. I think that looks really, really cool. So I'm doing that on purpose. Okay. Now I have to decide. I definitely want that to be the front cover right there. And then that can be the back. Perfect. We have our spine. Now with the spine, we need to have an overlay to connect everything. I don't know if I want... I was going to do fabric, but we're out of... We don't have enough of this fabric. Do I have another fabric here I might want to use? Quick peek. Probably not. Okay. Glue. Wallpaper. Now what I've done, okay, this is in the middle with wallpaper on either side. Okay. We're going to attach it, or this could actually go on the inside too. There's so many ways to do this. So many ways to do this. Make sure I do this the right way. Okay. Leave a slight gap. Make sure that that is glued down really well. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Whoops, getting glue on my desk. Slight gap. Make sure it's glued really well. Okay, so we're not going to look at the other side yet because I want that glue to set. This is the inside of the journal. So now we have to figure out what we're going to do for the inside. And that's not going to be too hard because we're going to have some fun. I have some hand-dyed papers here. I think I got these in Happy Mail. And we are going to just have some fun. Use what you have and do not overthink it. Now that does not go all the way to the bottom, but that is okay because we're going to fix that. At some point, you just have to start collaging, creating. I could get a piece of paper that fit, but why? This is beautiful, and it's going to come out really neat. I love a good crinkly hand-dyed paper. Kind of hard to explain my thought process on all of this because I am creating as I go. I had an idea in my mind when I started out, but I've already changed it multiple times as I've been watching it come together. I've made so many covers. You'll realize the more covers you make and the more you're open to being flexible, the more your brain will kind of just say, do this, do that. And you don't really always have a reason for it. You're just following the muse, following the inspiration. Okay. What other colors do we have in here? This yellow is really pretty. It goes with the aesthetic. I'm going to do a nice torn edge. And see what we're going to do there is cover up the part where the paper didn't reach. Again, art glitter glue has been my best friend because it grabs so well. It doesn't make terrible lines. It gives me exactly what I want almost every time. Beautiful. And then we're going to do a nice, look at that. Beautiful patina on that dyed paper. I want to say these were different, like cabbage dyed and onion dyed. I think that's what they were. I got them in Happy Mail and I don't remember all the specifics. I'm glad I get to use them. Oh, I love that. Now, we need to reinforce this. So first we're going to make sure, yes, that looks good. Oh, that looks really good. I'm going to put a ribbon probably down this, or maybe, there we go. That's pretty. Something, there we go. Something really pretty, this pretty fabric, just to kind of, I'm going to stitch that on, which I don't have a sewing machine here. I will have to do that later. Okay, this is what we need to do now. What do I want to use to reinforce it? My plan had been that fabric. Oh, here we go. Nope, not thick enough. Not thick enough, I meant not wide enough. Wallpaper is excellent for reinforcing. It's nice and durable. I often have wallpaper listed in my shop under Lindsay's Supplies, so make sure you check there frequently for wallpaper. There we go. And then here's the trick for the spine. This is pretty important. If you want it to lay right, you have to put glue down in the little divot. You got to get it in there. You got to get it down the spine and over on each side. You can fix it after that if you don't get the glue far enough, but those are your most important things. Line up at the bottom. Press up, but before it dries, you want to get something with a blunt end. I have this twistable crayon. We're going to try and see if this works. And you're going to press it gently without ripping it into the glue to make kind of like you would a scoreboard. So if you have a bone folder or something like that, that would work really well. You're just pressing it into the glue to make that divot. Let it catch, find the next divot. And that is what is going to give you a really, really good hinge on your cover. We are reinforced on both sides. We have wallpaper on both sides. And that is going to, look at how beautifully that folds with no bubbles, no problems. Gorgeous. And then you can go back in and see how I need a little more glue to keep that down. Go back in on your corners and make sure that they're down. Isn't that gorgeous? Now you can see here at the top, it didn't perfectly cover. I'm okay with that because remember, it's a junk journal. That doesn't mean we make trash or we whip it together. It means having character, like this torn edge. And we're going to have, I'm going to actually stitch. So we're going to have stitching over it. Is going to be really pretty. Oh, isn't that gorgeous? So what I'm going to do is pause this, get it all stitched up, come back, and we're going to decorate the cover. As promised, I'm back. Here it is. We're going to just clean it up a little bit and decorate it. Look at that gorgeous stitching. And I sewed on those torn fabric strips to the front and back. This is what the inside looks like. It came out way better than I had imagined. Even though we had all of those problems, that's what I'm trying to show you, is even when we have issues, we can be flexible and creative and come up with something we wouldn't have otherwise. My idea of this was a whole lot more boring than this. This is beauty. It is fluidity. It is flexibility. It is gorgeous. And I could not be happier with it. And I've just learned you have to just go with the flow and you have to be inventive. I mean, look at how well that lays, that opens. And this is 1 inch. You do not want to try to stuff in 3 or 4 signatures into something that small. That is a 2 signature space. Okay, let's take the last couple minutes just to decorate. I have a silver ink pad and I have a Tim Holtz well-used stencil. And this is something I tried on a different journal that I'm currently working on. And I want to try it on this as well. I have just a makeup brush and I want to try to add a little bit of silver floral stenciling to the wallpaper. See, just a little bit. It's so pretty. It just adds an extra layer of gorgeousness. Isn't that beautiful? I'm going to do just a little bit on the spine, I think. Don't want to overdo it. I just want to add some pretty touches. And then here on the back as well. I'm not overthinking it. I'm just adding a little bit. Look at how pretty. Oh, that came out so well. Okay, now I'm going to take that same silver ink and I'm just going to flick the pad all around the edges and a little bit rub it onto the creases of the spine. This just makes it look more finished. Try not to get any fingerprints or thumbprints on it. On the inside here as well, just flicking some silver ink onto that. Oh, see, that rested on the ink pad and I have a silver streak. I'm not worried about it. Just adds to the character. Look at how pretty that is. Now, I was going to put an image on there, but I'm not going to. I'm going to leave it just like this because it would detract. It would distract. Just a little bit of the silver flowers and then these gorgeous, oh, it is just how I want it. So pretty. And if you can imagine, this isn't a video about stitching and signatures, but I'm just going to set them in there. You can see, look at the perfection of how that fits, how it lays, and how it'll look once it's opened. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that this helps you make some really great journal covers for 2 signature journals. And don't forget to go over to Vectoria Designs to check out their Rose Garden printable. It is absolutely stunning. I hope that you have a really nice day, and I hope that you will get to crafting as soon as you can. I know it'll bring you just a little bit of joy.